Before we dive in today, I wanted to share an important note. My guest speaks about their own personal healing journey and experiences. Whilst I respect their story, this episode is for informational and inspirational purposes only. It is not a substitute for personalized medical advice. So if you have questions about your health, always consult a qualified healthcare professional. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoy this beautiful episode. Welcome to Generation Elevation. Welcome back to another episode of the Generation Elevation podcast. Now, today I am joined by a very special guest, as always. But this guest, it's quite interesting actually, because I've kept hearing about him lately through other guests that I've had on my show. Now, if you are a regular listener, you would know that I don't believe in coincidences. And so I trust that these little messages and mentionings of this person has literally been the universe or life guiding me to make sure I have this human on my show, because I know, and just the energy in conversations pre-recording. Oh my gosh, I wish I recorded that already because it's been so fire. And I know that each and every one of you tuning in right now is going to get so much value, like life-changing. So with that said, I'm going to introduce to you a hip-hop artist and global wellness innovator, Herb Young. Thank you, Herb.
Oh, that was the most amazing introduction ever. Thank you so much, Miss Elise. You are great at what you do.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And yeah, similar energy in regards to me hearing about you and like the way it was interwoven for us to connect to this moment via Moon, via Juggy, our friend Sook. It was just like we were just flirting in each other's field. It was like one moment you're with this person and I'm with this person and then vice versa. So yeah, it was divine alignment for us to connect today. So thank you for having me on the show.
Truly feel that. Like, those of you that have been regular listeners, you would know that I've interviewed Juggy on my show, Moon, Sook, and just what Herb mentioned, like he's been also passing by and spending time with these people too. They've all mentioned Herb. I'm like, I need to meet this guy. So I'm really grateful to have you on the episode today. So Herb, for those that are listening who have no idea who you are, why should they keep listening?
Thank you. Good question. Because I'm gonna tell you some shit that you're not gonna believe. When I told my mama she dropped to her knees, I said, please pray for your baby. I got a disease that's killing me far as a doctor can see, but his vision is blurred because of hypocrisy. I recently heard about Hippocrates and how food should be medicine, and I agree. Food should be medicine, and should be free. So from this moment, I make a decree. I'm healing myself with each bite that I eat. But you know there's always some levels to reach. The healthiest eating the leaf off the tree, or fresh out the dirt before washing it first. You probably think that shit is berserk. I can't deny so that till I finally try and I find out it actually works. You may or may not like me, but I healed my COVID-19. Freeze your flight and don't fight me. Don't you want good health like me? What if the cure is in the high seas or vanilla ice cube iced teas or just bare feet on a nice beach eating vegan coconut ice cream?
That was insane. What? Did you just prepare that?
That's a little something I've been working on for a bit now. Yeah. It's an actual song that I have written.
Okay, because that was fire. Like,
Gratitude. And you can catch it on my website, herbismyname.com. So if you like that, you can get the song on my website.
okay, I'm definitely gonna check that out. That was vibes. So they should keep listening because you're gonna be talking about how they can heal.
Yeah. So essentially, I just told my story of healing through my music. But I'm from Chicago originally. And most people know that Chicago is somewhat of a rough environment. It's kind of tough environment. And so, so my mother and I, we came out of that environment and we experienced a lot of crazy stuff, you know, from the the gang violence to the, domestic violence, and even just the crazy stuff that happens just even aside from the streets, just in life, from the nasty environments, like people have to live in shelter sometimes. And so my mother and I had to live in a shelter, and while living in the shelter, I caught tuberculosis. And that was kind of the beginning of my health journey that I didn't even realize. But that changed my life a lot. Eventually, it started affecting me when I got older, and I wanted to actually heal my tuberculosis. And doctors were telling me, you can't heal it. And once I got older, my health was declining. It was affecting me more. And they were like, yeah, kid, it's gonna kill you eventually. So enjoy your life. And I was like, that's it. It's like, and I don't want to believe like that's it, that this disease is gonna take me out, especially considering the homies ain't taking me out. You know what I'm saying? All the crazy stuff in Chicago. But then I started to hear about a man named Dr. Sebi that was actually teaching people how to heal all diseases through just alkaline food and alkaline herbs. And I didn't necessarily believe that initially, but then I started meeting people who actually used Dr. Sebi's method to heal. And so I said, okay, I'll try it. And after 2 months of sticking with his method, I became one of those people who could say I actually healed myself. And then I wanted to help my best friend, who is my mother. She was suffering from addiction to crack and to opioids, also had diabetes and arthritis. And she said, you're a living testament that this stuff works. So make me a protocol. And so I did, and she followed it for 90 days. After 90 days, she lost over 100 pounds. And even now, she's addiction free, prescription free. Yeah, living her best life, even growing her own food now and everything. Yeah.
Wow, this is so cool to hear about. And it's really interesting, but because you've come onto the show off the back of Sook coming on, who we definitely spoke about like metaphysics and how healing from the inside and like emotional regulation and trauma and how that can stay trapped in the body. So, like, how did you come from Chicago then to London? Like, what brought you here?
Oh man, just following my heart. So I've been traveling the world for about 3 years now. I used to live in Bali, Thailand. Man, I was in Costa Rica, Canada, Mexico, and just a series of events and people that I connected with led me here. It was just all divine. And actually, the initial thing was to come and record music with my best friend and my business partner, Luke Cohen. So he was like, yeah, and actually not even come to London. He told me to come to Glastonbury. I met him in Glastonbury, which is the heart chakra of the planet, as they say. So my friend Luke, he visits sacred sites all over the world. So I trust his guidance when he's like, come visit a place, come experience his energy. And so just being in Glastonbury, of course, I'm close to London. So I'm like, let me go try London, see how it feels. And lucky for me, the moment I choose to go up to London from Glastonbury, it was the same week of Jazz Fest. So I came in with just all this beautiful, like I literally didn't even know what was going on. I literally walked in. Actually, I think I was staying at Hootenanny at the hostel, and I lost my key, and so I couldn't get in. And not only did I lose my key, I forgot and my phone died too. So you had to have a key and you had to have a passcode to get in. So I was like, I was cooked all the way. And so I was like, so Hootenanny is also a music venue. So I decided, let me go inside the music venue and get in through there. And when I decided to go in, just a whole new world opened up to me. There was this band on stage. I think it was Joshua Milo. Shout out to Joshua Milo and his band. They were just amazing, phenomenal, just blew my mind. And yeah, and they were like, yeah, this is part of Jazz Fest. And then each day after that, I was at a different music event for Jazz Fest. And that was kind of like my introduction to London. And yeah, and it pulled me in.
Wow. It's so beautiful to hear your story of like divine timing and following the signs to get here. It definitely resonates with myself and my journey from Australia to London. It's cool to hear it from someone else though, because I know the listeners, like all they hear is like my story a lot of the time. So when I get guests on, it's nice to hear like it's not just me having all of these like divine timing experiences, right? We all can experience that. I just want to take it back a little bit because you spoke about these protocols, right, from Dr. Sebi. So I'd really like to go deep into that to start with today, and what specifically is involved in that and who could that potentially benefit? So like if someone's listening to this right now, what would they potentially be struggling with that this protocol, which you will explain, would help them with?
Great question. So if you are watching this right now and you are suffering from some type of chronic illness or disease or some life-threatening disease or chronic fatigue or some type of illness that's giving you lots of pain, you need to check out Dr. Sebi's protocol. So it's really simple. You focus on eating alkaline foods and taking alkaline herbs, right? And it gets more specific and more detailed, but that is the basis of it. He has this list that he put together of all the foods that are alkaline or alkaline forming foods for the body and a list of alkaline herbs. And so, long story short, he teaches that you can heal the body of any disease or any ailment in 90 days or less. So he's helped people with, HIV. He's helped people with all types of cancers, tumors, you name it. Like I said, I had tuberculosis and sickle cell. Even if you're suffering from an addiction, that's a disease as well. That's an illness. That's something you can actually heal. A lot of people don't realize addiction is rooted in nutrient deficiency. You're literally craving more nutrients, even aside from the psychological things that are going on. Your body physically is craving nutrients, kind of like people who are addicted to crack, for example, or cocaine. But people don't know that the coca plant actually has 42 constituents, right? And so they're wanting more of the cocaine because they want the rest of the constituents. They're only taking one of them, actually. The coca plant, the part that's the most addictive, what people want, they're giving them that part, but their body's craving the other 42 constituents. And actually people use the coca plant for like mountain sickness. You know what I mean? And so it's amazing how simple it could be, right? Even though it was something that was told to us that is impossible to heal AIDS or HIV or certain cancers or something like that, or tuberculosis. And to know that all it takes is eating the right foods, taking the right herbs consistently can actually heal you. But it's true. I'm a living testament.
That's really powerful. And I already can hear it. I can hear you guys. There's probably some people that are feeling a little bit skeptical about what you've claimed, right? Because that is huge. And we live in a society, especially people that will listen to this, that is very much about Western medicine.
Yeah.
And, you go to the doctor, you get a prescription for drugs, antibiotics, whatever, and that's supposed to fix you, right? But I definitely have a holistic approach on my podcast where I like to see a world in the future where we can hopefully have both philosophies, like East and Western, come together to help people not only heal from like what they're going through right now, but also preventative measures for their future. So let's strip it way back, because I know there'll be people listening like, what the heck is that? What's an alkaline food?
Okay, so your body, foods, everything is either acidic or alkaline, right? So there's a scale, it's called the pH scale, right? People hear about pH sometimes in regards to, our own physical body's pH, but our blood actually has a pH level. And it's usually around 6.8, 7 is neutral, right, on the pH scale. 14 is like super highly alkaline. And then anything under 7 is acidic. And a lot of foods are actually under 7 on the pH scale, right? So it's acidic. But alkaline foods are above 7 on the pH scale, and it raises the pH of your blood. Same with like all your organs also have different pHs, right? But ideally, we want foods to continue to raise the pH. Something like coconut water is very alkaline, cucumbers are highly alkaline, or even just taking cucumbers and putting them in your water to alkalize the water, or using something like a key lime to alkalize the water. And even though key lime, people are like, oh, a lime is acidic, it's actually alkaline forming when it touches the body. So certain foods, even like a strawberry, even though it's acidic on the pH scale, it has chemical affinity with the body, meaning when it touches human DNA, it alkalizes. So yeah, we want to just stick to alkaline foods or alkaline forming foods. That's what it's about.
Yeah, I love this because there's interesting, all the things that you said. I'm like, oh yeah, I have that. That's really great. And I don't want to make it complicated for people, right? Because as you would know, there's so much information out there about what to eat, what not to eat, what to eat to lose weight, to gain muscle, to be healthy. And I'm from like the bodybuilding space, so there's a lot of information about that. So what would then be like your 3 best tips for people who are curious about maybe trying to change their diet to foods that are more alkaline to help them enhance energy and heal?
So it's funny we talk about food, but the first food that we need. So how long can you go without food, right? You can go what, a couple of weeks, right? How long can you go without water? A few days. How long can you go without oxygen? You know what I mean? Only a
Oh,
couple
yeah.
minutes. So actually, breathing properly also alkalizes the blood in the body. So I would recommend learning breath work techniques, right? And the simplest way to put it is exhale slower than you inhale. Exhale slower than you inhale. So if you inhale for 4 seconds, 1, 2, 3, 4, exhale for like 5 to 6 seconds, right? And then learn breath techniques like the Wim Hof. That changed my life, right? That's a more rapid breath work technique, but it's to alkalize the blood as well. But so I would say learn breath work. Number two, get you alkaline beverages in your life, like coconut water. If you're drinking water, add some, Celtic salt or some type of tropical salt. Some Celtic salt is a good one as well. Use cucumbers in your water, or just any type of fruit juice, alkaline fruit juice. So I would say, yeah, breath work. Get you some alkaline beverages in your life. And then also look up Dr. Sebi's alkaline food guide because there's a list of all the foods that are actually alkaline. So that's what I would say.
Wow, this is so interesting. And guys, even I'm learning here today. Like for me, this is all really new information. So I really appreciate you sharing. I love the segue to breath work, breath, because for me, as everyone knows, as yourself knows, I facilitate a lot of breath work and it has honestly changed my life.
I've heard you change some lives. I've heard great things about your breath.
Thank you. Thank you. But I've also seen your breath work, especially from Juggy's session, go viral. This reset breath of yours. I'd love to hear your story of how you come to learn that and what it actually is for people who don't know.
Thank you. Yeah. Um, I was on after I healed myself of tuberculosis and sickle cell. I was like, I want to heal myself of like these psychological things, this trauma that's locked in my nervous system, that's stored in my body, my brain. How do I heal that? And a lot of answers that was getting back from people on the internet was like bufo, combo, ayahuasca. Try these, these plant medicines. They'll help you purge. They'll help you heal. And then I heard about people that was like, yeah, I'm on 137 session of my ayahuasca. I'm like 137 ayahuasca ceremonies, bro, and you ain't fixed yet. Like, what? So I was like, when does it end? You know what I mean? Like, how many? What is really going on? Even though I heard some people were getting benefits, but some people, I've heard, have died or lost, psychosis and not come back from that. And I said, okay, I'm open to it, universe. I want to heal. I ain't scared. You know what I'm saying? But I would like something a little more safe, you know, something that's a little more on command, something that I could, control more. And so I prayed for answers every time had the opportunity to do like some type of plant medicine. Universe was like, no, no. I even have a song about that. It's called Australia.
No
No, yeah,
way.
I got. It's so funny. It's called Australia, but but as I was praying for answers, I got one of the most life-changing experiences as an answered prayer when I went to Bali. So I decided to move to Bali a couple years ago.
Cause or
It just in my heart. I was just like, I need to get out of America. I just wanted to leave the United States. And even beyond leaving the United States, it was more about, you know, going to a tropical environment. I love coconuts, I love tropical fruits, and I'm like, I'm getting this stuff shipped to me. But it doesn't have the same nutritional value as if I got it fresh from the source. So I was like, you know what? I want that experience. I want to eat fresh coconuts from the source. I want mangoes and papayas and if the sunlight on the soil is creating this coconut, what is it going to do to me? And so I just wanted the tropical experience. And plus, I'm very honest about myself, how spiritual I am and how committed I am to this lifestyle. And I said, I want to be around people who are of similar vibrations, who are committed to this lifestyle as well. And all answers pointed to Bali. It's like, that's the health capital. That's the spiritual capital. So I was like, okay. So I moved to Bali and I went to Bali Spirit Fest. And literally right when I went to Bali Spirit Fest, I met a who introduced me to Reset Breath. And even at Bali Spirit Fest, I even met my best friend, mentor, business partner, Luke Cohen. So like so much happened in like one moment. But yeah, in Bali, at Bali Spirit Fest is how I experienced Reset Breath for the first time.
and so for those who have no idea what reset breath is, like what is
It is a therapeutic practice to reset the central nervous system and reset the brain. And it does it in just 10 breaths. Literally just 10 breaths, short, simple, to the point. It makes you feel amazing. And it also releases feel good chemicals. What makes you feel good is the feel good chemicals that get released, which is the dopamine, serotonin, and also a little bit of DMT. Your own natural DMT, no substances involved whatsoever.
That's so interesting. And well, what comes to my mind as you say that, like in the spiritual community, the ayahuasca, the plant journeys, the self discovery through that path, it is so prevalent. Like I hear about it a lot. People come to me, oh, do you do this? Have you done this before? And I feel that the sacredness of these plants or their abilities or what they can do for you can be abused. Like it's seen as a almost like an escape from actually doing the work of yourself. That's why I like this idea of the reset breath. And it's interesting how these plants, they didn't come into your life like the way that you thought it could. It's the same for me. And yeah, it's very interesting that there's this breath that can kind of give you the same sort of euphoric experience that people might assume can only be found through things that are external to them.
It's funny. That concept is what allowed me to heal. Because my mother, because I was big on, like, when I heard about Dr. Sebi, I was like, I'm going to Honduras. I'm going to go get in the alkaline water, the hot springs. I'm going to go eat all I was big on just getting there and like my healing is going to happen when I get there. And interesting for me, it's funny. I was on my way to Honduras, and I decided to do a stopover in Oregon. A week and a half after I made it to Oregon, Dr. Sebi was pronounced dead under some very mysterious circumstances. But I was devastated initially, and my mom was like, "Baby," she said, "when God has something for you, it will come to you wherever you are. You don't have to go anywhere to get it." And I was like, but I need to go get in the tropical sunlight and get the earth. And it took me a bit to really understand that concept of like, it really is all inside of me. And when I adopted that concept, right, I was like, I can't go meet Dr. Sebi. I don't know what's going on with his family and the property. I don't, I was like, you know what? I have to do this for myself where I'm at now. And when I had that mindset shift of I can do this and it's something inside of me that has to shift and change, that's when I literally healed. That's when I stopped using money for like I went on like this whole thing. You know what I mean? Like I stopped using money for a year. I was foraging my own food, my own herbs. I was learning how to organic farm. It was just a whole thing. And within that first 2 months of going on this journey, I healed myself. And it was because of that concept of like not seeking all this external, healing or modalities or substances. It was like figure out how to shift what's inside of me to create the healing.
What I love about this is people listening to this episode might be thinking, "Oh yeah, well I maybe can't afford like organic or alkaline foods, and I don't have the time to do X, Y, Z, and all of this healing, and go to Bali and have these journeys." But what they can do is breathe and learn how to
Absolutely.
do it properly.
Facts.
So what is the science behind all of this? Like what are some like grounding facts that this breath can help people achieve or do or feel? Like you said it releases DMT, but what does that actually do for people?
It's a good question. So first thing is we're tuning into our breath and becoming present. You know, presence is everything. If you're not present, you can't be effective. Like if you want to, you know, do anything. If you're in the kitchen and you want to cook a meal, if you're thinking about everything that happened yesterday or whatever, you might burn yourself, burn the food and everything. So it allows you to become present and become more aware. And then when you become present and aware of your body, you can really tune in to what's going on in your arm, your leg, or whatever. Even if you go deeper, what's going on spiritually, psychologically, emotionally, and then start to create a shift. And the breath is the one thing that allows you to, when you think about your breath and you imagine breathing out or breathing in, you're fully present. You can't be anywhere else but where you are. So that's one of like the key things. So people may or may not know about somebody like Joe Dispenza, who teaches about meditation and using gratitude and breath work and all these things to shift and heal. But it really, really works. Like literally being present with yourself, with your breath, right? Feeling what it would be like to get on the other side. Like if you're experiencing, cancer, what would it feel like to heal? Imagine that, right? And then give gratitude for that moment, right? Imagine the moment you get your diagnostic sheets and you're like, you no longer have cancer. What would that moment feel like, right? And then breathe into that moment. Like that's the best tip that I could ever give anyone, is to be present with gratitude, no matter if it's for the future, for the present moment, something in the past. Ideally, give gratitude for what you're already looking to do. Right? You're looking to heal. You're looking to grow. You're looking to change or get richer. Whatever it is, imagine it. Sit with your breath. Breathe into that feeling, right, of how it would feel to experience it, and then let everything go from there. Like literally start there.
I did a whole podcast on this and how to visualize. Go listen to that one, because I talk about how when you actually visualize that end result, the goal that you have in your mind, your brain doesn't actually know if that's happening right now or not. So the more vivid you can be in your mental rehearsal practice, you're actually like preparing your nervous system to receive that goal, that goal is your normal. But if you think about like the reticular activating system in your brain, if you're teaching your brain to know that you are abundant and you are worthy of love and you are healthy and fit and energized, you're most likely going to see opportunities throughout your day that represent that belief back to you, because we all have a brain bias. So if you are biased to believing that you're sick and that you're unwell because everyone else around you has told you that, like how many people have been told that they're sick but actually feel super well, right? And it's like, if you are buying into that belief, then we start to like go internal on ourselves and think, oh, maybe I have been feeling a little bit off lately, and we start gaslighting ourselves, right?
Yeah, it's very, very true. And I love how you got scientific with it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, even Joe Dispenza talks about, you want to meditate and shut down the prefrontal cortex. And that's the area that has you in beta. And so like if we go deeper and scientific, also what Reset Breath does is it allows you to immediately tap into your delta and theta brainwave states, alpha, delta, theta. And that's the brainwave frequency where miracles can happen, healing can happen, reprogramming the subconscious mind happens in that state. That's where we dream, right? And so that's what meditation ideally and breath work is doing. It's allowing us to slow everything down, change our not only just our physical state, our brain wave and emotional state, so that we can be more receptive to what is actually true, that we are pure love, that we are whole, that we are healed, that we are abundant, that we are all these wonderful things that we swear we're not sometimes, and we're convinced we're not because of television, music, all this other stuff. Family members who just they don't know any better. But yeah, but there's a lot of science around it, and that even aside from the science, I tell people just go get an experience. Go. You can do it. Do it by yourself at home. Just start meditating. But if you know someone who's doing breath work or whatever, yeah, just do it.
I really love the idea of going and experiencing this whole healing journey for yourself. We live in a society that conditions you to believe that what you can see is real and that's it. So it takes you out of your heart and into your head,
Yeah.
right? So very logical, analytical. And there's so many clients that I work with that come to me that are all stuck up in here. They're like, Elise, I don't know which path or thing to do or take or decision to make. I'm feeling lost. And I just encourage them to tune back into their heart. Because when you drop into your heart, like we've spoken about this whole episode, is you moved from Chicago to London, to you went to Bali. I moved from Australia to London, all from following my heart. But if I was to be logical about these decisions that I've made, I would not be sitting here right now with you having this really beautiful conversation. And so for anyone listening, I want to just leave you with just follow your heart when these decisions that come through for you. And it's like, if you're listening to this chat right now and you're like, something excites you about maybe potentially trying new foods or this breath work or just even meditating, anything, then just give it a go.
Just give it a go. Give it a try. You
Trust.
might like it.
You might.
You might love it.
You might.
Might change your life, you know?
And for me, that was literally the argument I had with myself before I got started on this journey. Was I was walking through COVID time, because that's all I could really do, right? Is just walk. And I was experiencing major anxiety. So I was listening to podcasts for 3 hours every day. I would go for a walk for that amount of time because there's nothing else. And I was trying to figure out what was wrong with me through these podcasts. I was trying to logically figure it out. And it was months of this to eventually I just pulled out my headphones. I was so frustrated. And I was like looking at the sky. Now, for me, back then, I wouldn't have called myself religious or spiritual at all. But I looked at the sky, hoping something would answer me back. And I said, something help me.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I just, looking back, realized it was a complete surrender. And I just had this experience where I heard meditate. And my brain was like, nah, I don't believe in meditation. I don't do that. That's for hippies. That's woo-woo. I don't have time. And it was like, meditate. So like you said, I was like, fine, I'll give it a go. I'll do 1 minute. And if I like it, then we can continue. But if I don't, then I don't have to ever do it again. So I did 1 minute. I liked it. So I kept going. And then now we're here today. This is exactly what I teach and what lights me up. But you'll never know unless you give it a go.
I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
If I wasn't holding the mic, I'd give you a round of applause right now. No, because it's I'm serious, because it's not easy to listen to that voice. You know what I mean? That listen to your gut, your spirit, whatever. Because sometimes it's a voice, sometimes it's just your gut feeling where you can like something leading you, you know. And I've had many a times where I did not listen very early on too, and I paid the price for not listening. But I'm so happy to hear, you know, you listen and you followed your heart and you just said, hey, I'll just try it for 1 minute. And I even like what you posted. I think you did a challenge where you were doing your, was it 21-day athletic challenge or something like that?
So basically, for those of you that are either following me or you're not aware, every single day I'm showing up on social media and I am training my mind like an athlete until I achieve my goal, which is to do one of my workshops for a professional sport team.
Oh, wow.
Because I want to track the science of how this work can help improve not only performance, but also potentially reduce the likelihood of injury in elite athletes. Now, if I am proved right in this data, then imagine what impact that could have on the rest of the world. So for me, I'm showing through this challenge, one, not only that this work can help you achieve your goals by locking in mentally, doing your meditations every day, journaling, gratitudes, etc., aligned action, but also I'm showing how this changes my life too. And I know I'm going to achieve that goal. So it's like, great. But also too, it's showing others that like how much it changes for me as well. So it's a win-win and I'm really excited.
Yeah. It being the change.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you. And so thank you for giving me the backstory on that and everything. Cause I was like, cause I was wondering like, what made her decide to do this? Because it's funny. One of my things that I journal, it's really important to shift your belief system is to have the proper identity, right? A lot of our beliefs about ourselves are rooted in identity. So one of my identities is an elite performing athlete. So I write it down and everything like that. So anyway, so I was like, yeah, she's got it right. That's the mindset, because an athlete, you know, when you have that identity as an athlete, your athletes are like, yo, I'm up at this time. I'm eating the right way. I'm like, why? Because I'm an athlete. I have to perform at a high level. I can't slack off. I can't take days off per se. Well, you get your rest and recover, but I have active rest and I recover in this way. And so one of the things that you mentioned, as far as like when you wake up and you have that tough day or you don't want to work out, you was like, I'm going to tell myself, just try it for 5 minutes. Just for 5 minutes and see how I feel. If I don't feel like doing it after that, at least I gave it 5 minutes. And so I think that's a very, very great tip for people. So try it for 1 minute as far as meditation and working out. At least try it for 5 minutes. And if you don't feel so good afterwards, that's okay. At least you did it for 5 minutes, you know?
100%. And there's definitely different ways and vehicles to healing and becoming that best version of yourself. So if one thing doesn't work, doesn't mean that everything doesn't work for you. So I'd love to hear about like your story, Herb, and just like maybe some things that have worked really well for you and that maybe you thought would work well but didn't.
That's a good question. I thought certain places, there's certain things, but because I've traveled a lot, and I thought certain places would be like, oh, that's where everything is gonna happen at, and that's not true. Sometimes that's not true. For example, with music, I moved to LA for music. I was like, LA is a place to be for music, and the best recording studios, and this, that, and the third, and the connections and all that. And it's funny. I'm looking to make a name for myself in music. When I get to LA, I made a name for myself in the healing community. Like I'm in the best studios and all the artists, but they're like, yeah, that's little Dr. Sebi right there. Like I'm like, I'm honored like that people know me for that. Even beyond music. They like, yeah, you need any tips on health or healing, or if you sick, or you go to Herb. Herb will let you know. And I was like, wow. And so, I still had, success in LA in regards to music and things I recorded and connections I made, but it didn't give me what I thought I wanted in regards to like what I wanted to achieve with music. But it gave me a lot of information, a lot of insights. And so, yeah, I enjoyed LA. I loved LA. And so that was one of the, I guess, places or things that kind of, didn't work for me. But in regards to health wise, what's something that I thought would work for me really well and it didn't necessarily work for me? I don't know. I've tried a lot of stuff actually. Man, I guess it would be the plant medicine because I was very open to trying. Like for example, I have experienced like microdosing and using psychedelics. However, it didn't it helped me initially, but it didn't give me what I thought I wanted to receive. And what I'm learning is there really isn't this one heal all, right? You know what I mean? There's things that help you along the journey, that'll give you great results, that'll move you forward, but there's not this one just, heal all pill or one heal all method. It's a combination of all these things. And like for example, even with my music now, even though LA or Chicago weren't the places for me to like fulfill certain musical goals, it definitely helped me in that way as far as certain connections and certain information I learned and recording this song with that song, whatever. So it's always what I'm learning is it's a combination of things. Like even when something doesn't work or doesn't work out that well, it's still teaching me and I'm still learning and it's still helping me in some way.
You know, a quote I actually saw today was failure doesn't mean that you are necessarily like far away from success. It actually means that you're really close to.
Oh, I like that one.
Because the more that you make mistakes, the more that you fail, it means that you are closer to success than someone who hasn't tried at all.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm, powerful.
Very powerful.
So, I guess for the listeners who want to figure out how they can connect with you, how they can even message and get started. I know you have like an ebook and
I do, I do, I do,
how
I
can they
do.
find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram. Herb is my name, just all one word. Herb is my name. You can also go to my website, herbismyname.com. That's a great place to connect with me. You can, message me on WhatsApp through my website. You can email me. You can DM me on Instagram. You can also get my ebook on my website if that's something you're interested in. If you want a guide that would actually help you on your health journey, I highly recommend it.
And also your music too, because like your lines, they're fire. So it can we listen to your music
Yeah,
anywhere?
yeah. So I released a couple of songs on all streaming platforms. So, but majority of my music is on my own website. Go directly to my website, herbismyname.com, if you want to get music from me. But yeah, you can check me out on Spotify or Apple Music. It's just Herb Young.
So what's the next steps for you then? Like what's the vision? Where do you want to take this?
Man, so the ultimate goal is to help the world become disease free. That sounds super crazy, right? Healing is a very loaded, vague term, but disease free is very specific. I would love to help as many people as possible experience what I experienced, like real healing. I've had so many friends and family members who have passed away, who have actually died from curable diseases. Now we know that they were curable diseases. So when I, it was like the biggest light bulb ever went off in my head once I was in the doctor's office and I'm getting my diagnostics back, and they're like, "Yeah, where's your like tuberculosis? What do you mean?" Because tuberculosis is really weird. You have to like get a scan. You have to get like a lung scan, and like basically the previous scan showed where the tuberculosis was, and then the next scan is like there's not there. And so once it was real, like I was already feeling better, like I could feel it. But once I'm like, no, this is real. Not only am I see this, the doctors see this. They're like, what did you do? I was like, I want to help as many people experience healing as possible. Make it super affordable. You know what I mean? Like show people like you can just go and start foraging herbs. You can go like you can do this on your own. You don't have to spend an obscene amount of money. You can really learn how to use breath work, how to use meditation, and how to use, alkaline food and alkaline herbs to heal. So for me, it's, sharing my story via platforms like yours, using my music, and also people that want to come in direct contact with me to use my protocol or my coaching services, whatever. In any way the divine says it wants me to contribute to the world becoming disease free, I'm willing to contribute.
So beautiful. And with every guest, the last question is very intuitive. Okay.
Okay.
So I want you to tune into your heart
Okay.
when I ask this. But for everyone who is tuning in right now and listening, what do you feel the collective needs to know right now?
I feel like right now the collective needs to know that you are pure love. You are love. You are whole, period, exclamation point. That's it. You are whole, you are love. And you can do anything you put your mind to, you put your heart to. That's it.